The Hajj is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, along with Shahada, confession of faith, Salat, prayer, Zakat, charity, and Swam, fasting. It is a demonstration of a solidarity of the Muslims and their submission to God, Allah. Pilgrims stay in the desert plains of Arafat, praying and repenting until after sunset on the same day. The night of Zulhijjah is the day of Arafat, which is the single most important day of performing the Hajj. Hajj is not valid without the day of Arafat. Any pilgrim who misses this day misses the whole Hajj. Millions of pilgrims hope that the thousands of steps they took in the heat and across the desert will bring them that one important leap closer to their religion and to their God. The annual festival of Eid al-Adha, or the festival of sacrifice, marks the end of the Hajj pilgrimage to Mecca by hundreds of millions of Muslims. Eid al-Kabir is usually celebrated with prayers offered on the Eid ground, followed by the slaughtering of goats, sheep, and cattle in commemoration of Prophet Abraham's readiness to sacrifice his son to show obedience to Allah. So, on Panorama today, coming to you live from the Lagos Network Center of the Nigerian Television Authority, we shall be focusing our attention on Hajj, the journey of faith, as Muslims opportuned by Allah are on the Arafat performing Hajj, and the significance of Eid al-Kabir. Be reminded that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website at nta.ng/live and on our other social media handles displayed on the screen for updates. I am Adeola Komiyakiri. Welcome to Panorama. Arafat's Day is the day Prophet Muhammad gave his last sermon on Mount Arafat, and that sermon was that all men are equal, be you white or black. It is the day also that angels descended to the earth with forgiveness in their hands for men to be forgiven their sins. And as we progress on the news, we shall bring you details of the day of Arafat. Meanwhile, the federal government has declared Wednesday, June 28 and Thursday, June 29 public holidays in commemoration of the Eid al-Kabir festivals. A statement by Dr. Oluwatoyin Akinlade, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Interior, felicitates Muslims and indeed all Nigerians and urged them to replicate great virtues of obedience, sacrifice, and faith exemplified by Prophet Ibrahim, peace of Allah be upon him, throughout the celebrations. Ahead of the Salah celebration, the Lagos Command of the Federal Road Safety Corps says it is fully prepared to ensure hitch-free vehicular movement on intra- and interstate roads within its jurisdiction. The Deputy Corps Commander of FRSC Lagos Command, however, called for strict compliance with traffic rules and regulations, as well as patience along construction routes.
It's that time of the year again when high vehicular movements are expected to be seen in parts of the country. In the atmosphere of the Eid al-Kabir celebration, movement of people and goods across the country becomes inevitable. And this is where the Federal Road Safety Corps comes in. This time around, it won't be business as usual. The Corps is changing its strategy with much focus on enforcement.
There, we are making sure that it's more drastic this time around. We are increasing the mobile courts, and we are looking at some offences as ones that will not even pay fines. That will not allow the offenders to pay fines, rather that such people must face the mobile court. So we won't be surprised if some people will spend Salah under lock and key.
The commercial has also directed that the operatives pay first-rate focus on effective traffic control and accordingly discipline offenders who engage in wrongful overtaking, use of phone while driving, driver's license violation, lane indiscipline, driving rickety vehicles on the road, driving with expired or worn-out tires. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
As part of efforts in ensuring road crash-free Eid al-Kabir celebration, the Federal Road Safety Corps has deployed personnel aside about 750 patrol vehicles, 120 ambulances, 25 tow trucks, and over 200 bikes. This is part of the Corps' special patrol operations scheduled to commence from the 26th, which commenced rather from the 26th of June and will end on the 1st of July 2023. Now, Eid al-Kabir is one festival season Muslims look forward to, and many prefer to celebrate with their extended family far away in the village. With a day remaining to Eid al-Adha, Aisha Abdullahi visited motor parks in Abuja. She brings us a situation report.
It is an important celebration where Muslims are expected to make animal sacrifice. As the celebration is expected to be big, many Muslims take this advantage to witness the moment with family.
Because I'm working here, so definitely I'll be traveling. I base in Kano specifically. I'm working here, so I'm traveling to Kano for Salah.
Actually, the previous years is more than this year.
Some, on the other hand, remain at home since the festival can be celebrated at any location of choice, more so with the prevailing economy. The situation here in the parks is drivers lamenting the low turnout to passengers, as many have resorted to sending parcels.
No, I'm not traveling. I'm just here to drop a parcel. I normally spend my Eid in Abuja around family, so I prefer it here.
Try to bring some of my colleagues at work.
Before, Kazana is 4,500, but now it's 10,000.
Double the price we are used to. We are used to paying 2,500 from Abuja to Mina, but now we are paying 5,000 naira. And I'm guessing it's due to the cost of the fuel, like the fuel inflation. So yeah, it's taking its toll on our pockets because we are not earning more, but we are spending more.
Different, like it's very. Last year I think it's almost it's 4,000. Now it's 9,000.
The celebration of Eid al-Kabir, Muslims around the world who are not observing Hajj duties are encouraged to fast on Arafah Day for the forgiveness of sins. Aisha Abdullahi, NTA News.
On the Arafat Day, as Muslims around the world step up preparation for Eid al-Kabir, Islamic scholars have bent the ears of Nigerians not to forget the lessons Salah teaches us, which is faith, patience, charity, and total submission to the will of Allah. These aforementioned virtues, the scholars believe, are needed to build a peaceful, strong, and united nation. They made this known while commenting on the importance of Eid al-Kabir. Larry Belay has the details.
Eid al-Kabir, according to Islamic scholars, is not only an important feast in the Islamic calendar, but a time set aside to acknowledge the importance of submission as demonstrated by Prophet Ibrahim, who with total faith to the will of Allah decides to sacrifice his son Ismail to God.
It's a commemoration of the obedience of Ibrahim, and so as many of the Muslims have said correctly, it is a season of sacrifice, it's a season of love, and it's a season of submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Islamic scholars emphasize that the virtues of prayer and sacrifice demonstrated by Holy Prophet Muhammad should be emulated by all Muslims at all times. They enjoined Muslims not to forget the essence of Eid al-Kabir, as it provides an opportunity for sober reflection.
Allah also value promise. When you make promise to someone, even to yourself, make sure you fulfill a promise. So I believe Eid al-Kabir is all about sacrifice, promises, faith, and reconnection.
Eid al-Kabir teaches obedience to Allah and then believing and trusting in His judgments.
What Allah said you should do it, don't joke with it. Because Adi being Prophet Ibrahim disobey. You understand? But he did not disobey Allah and I said, okay, leave your son. Look at that side, you see a white ram, then use it. You understand? So that's why you see not slaughtering it. It's for sacrifice. But if you can have the power to do it, fine. If you don't have the power to do it, no problem. It's by your intention. So you pray Allah can make you next year, you can slaughter. So
Muslims believed these virtues should resonate in the day-to-day dealings of Nigerians, as this will foster peace and lend a shoulder for the needful in the society to lean on. In Lagos, Larry Bileyi, NTA News.
And joining me live in the studio to further discuss the Hajj, the journey of faith, and the significance of Eid al-Kabir is an Islamic scholar, Deputy Imam of the Federal College of Fisheries and Marine Technology Muslims Community, Victoria Island, Lagos. Matomi Morufu Adewale, good to have you join us. Okay, now let's just start. It is regarded as the journey of faith. How important is Hajj to Muslims?
The Hajj is important to Muslims because it's one of the pillars of Islam, where a Muslim have to enjoy themselves and go to a pilgrimage in one's lifetime, if you have the money. But what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam enjoins us is to strive hard to go in one's lifetime. Even some people work to save money into their bank until they have the money, they can also work to go to the Hajj. And this day of Hajj is the day in which Prophet Ibrahim salam, in which want to sacrifice his son, whereby he sacrifice his son to having faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now what? Looking upon his heart that he has the faith and obedience to him, he now give him a ram in place of his son.
Okay, so it is very important for Muslims to go to the Hajj once in a lifetime. Okay, is it wrong for a Muslim to go more than once?
If you have the money, that's the capacity. If you have the capacity, you can go more than once. But what is enjoined is once in a lifetime, because some people may not afford it.
Okay. All right. Now, as the fifth pillar of Islam, is it mandatory for Muslims to embark on the journey?
It's one of the pillars of Islam. So as the pillars of Islam, it's enjoined us to go. But if you don't have money, you may not.
Okay. Now, what is the high point of the Hajj, as our fellow Muslims are?
The highest point of Hajj is today, which is the day of Arafat.
Okay, the 9th of the Zulhijjah.
So it's very important in the sense that it's the day in which the angel, just like we can corroborate it with during the last day of Ramadan, whereby the angel has descended to this earth, asking people to expiate them their sin, whereby their sin will be forgiven, the previous one will be forgiven.
Okay.
Also, the next year will be forgiven also. And this day of Arafat is a day in which Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave his last sermon, and that sermon is on the equality within men and women, whereby you have to enjoy yourself, love your brothers and your sisters.
Okay, thank you. This is still Panorama. We'll take a break. More reports when we return. To stay. Staying with us, this is still Panorama, reaching you from the Lagos Network Center of the Nigerian Television Authority, and I still have Imam Adewale here talking about the Arafat Day. So, what's for the benefit of those who are not Muslims, what would you say is the relevance of the Arafat Day?
The relevance of Arafat Day is the day where sin is forgiven.
Yeah, you have mentioned that.
Yes.
Okay, what other relevance that will be beneficial to man?
So, for the benefit to a man is for man to forgive each other, have faith in God. Because Prophet Ibrahim salam have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's why it's obedience to Allah. So that's why this day is very important to marriage.
Okay, when it was the Ramadan period, you did that fasting, and the last 10 days there were sermons admonishing faithful to abide by the teachings of Ramadan, and it is believed that that teaching which they inculcated has led them to this day. All right, so what should the attitude of Muslims be at this period?
So at this period, the attitude of a Muslim is to love your brothers, love your neighbor, love everybody beside you, whereby you need to inculcate. That is tomorrow, which is the 10th Zulhijjah, whereby you kill the rams. You need to what you have, killing the rams, you eat part of it, you also give those that ask and
those who do not ask. Okay. All right. Right now that the price of this ram and goat and everything is on the high side, what do you advise your fellow Muslims to do at this point?
What Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also enjoin us, if you don't have a means, you don't need to force yourself, you don't have the money to buy it. So if you have it, you buy it, and then show this or sacrifice which Prophet Ibrahim also do, which is obedience to Allah and also having faith in Allah. So
what's your message now to other Muslims and Nigerians as we look forward to a renewed hope in the country?
So my message for all the Nigerians is that from what we learn from the Hajj is that you need to sacrifice. We know we are going through hard time. We need to pray for this country. For this country to strive, we need prayer. Even today, which is the 9th day of Zulhijjah, we fast. And when you fast, your sin will be forgiven. When your sin is forgiven, God will guide you to where you need. That's why God will pray for God to guide Nigeria to the right path, whereby everything that is hard can be softened for us in Nigeria and the old Umaris.
Okay, we know it's Eid al-Kabir celebration and people will be, involved in so many activities. How do you tell them now to celebrate while they go about all they do? So should they celebrate in moderation or celebrate loud? Because this is said to be the big Salah.
So we know that it's a big Salah. We need to celebrate moderate. We know we are going through a hard time. So you don't need to do more than what you have. So you need to do it in a moderate way where your money reach. So you don't need to force yourself and have another debt to your family.
Okay, thank you, Matomi Adewale, for sharing, your thoughts on Arafat Day and enlightening Nigerians more on the importance and relevance of this day. Thank you very much for joining us on Panorama. Moving on now, as the world marks MSME's Day, the federal government is fast-tracking access to single-digit loans for micro, small and medium-scale enterprises. Vice President Kashim Shettima, in a statement by the Director of Information Office of the Vice President, Olushola Abiola, maintained that the federal government recognizes the vital role that micro, small and medium enterprises play in driving economic growth, creating jobs and promoting innovation, adding that the government remains committed to providing support, fostering an enabling environment and improving access to finance for MSMEs, especially in these unprecedented times. Vice President Shettima is therefore urging all stakeholders to come together beg your pardon. Vice President is therefore urging all stakeholders to come together to champion the growth and the success of MSMEs to achieve sustainable development for all, as the government recognizes the plethora of issues that face MSMEs as a result of the subsidy removal. Now to security, the Acting Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, has unveiled an intervention squad consisting 40,000 special trained elite officers drawn from the existing pool of police mobile force personnel and tactical units across the country to tackle the evolving security challenges in the country. Francis Form reports that the acting IGP presented the strategy at a meeting with squadron and tactical commanders of the force in Abuja.
We will henceforth be more proactive and be ready to take the fight to the criminals' den.
Last week, the acting IGP met with senior officers on his plans and programs for the force, and today it is the turn of squadron and tactical commanders.
The new special squad will be equipped with the knowledge and skills needed to combat evolving criminal activities, insurgency, and other security threats, especially the activities of non-state actors. This dedicated force will bolster our capacity to respond swiftly and decisively to security threats, ensuring that our presence is felt and our response is effective in every corner of our country.
10,000 personnel of the new squad are expected to be deployed to every state of the Federation for immediate operations and standby intervention units.
These officers will not perform routine police duties, but will be housed and kept combat ready, in readiness for deployments to intercept and neutralize high-profile criminals and those terrorizing our communities.
In line with his vision of building a rule of law compliant police force, Acting IGP Egbetokun orders police convoys on routine non-emergency movements to obey traffic lights and other traffic rules. Francis from NTA News.
And on the spot and scene for the latest, over now to Olumide